A tabloid publisher's deal to hush money is now endangering Trump even more. I'm paraphrasing a little bit.
For decades, Harris Faulkner has been one of Fox News' most respected and recognizable voices.
You know, as you look at this, what do you want the nation to know about your former
let me just tell you about that tabloid.
Yesterday?
I don't think, and I have to go check, I don't think they even paid any money to that tabloid, okay?
Known for her composure under pressure and steady presence in the spotlight, she built her career on discipline, credibility, and professionalism.
Well, I get a little practice at that because I have 2 elementary school daughters, so I just work it all out on them. And the number one thing I tell them is never, ever, ever hide your confidence.
Earning multiple Emmy Awards along the way. Yet beyond the confidence viewers see on screen is a far more personal story, shaped by loss, unexpected danger, and moments that quietly tested everything she had worked for. When Faulkner briefly stepped away from television, it raised a question few outside her inner circle could answer. What experiences had unfolded beyond the camera's view?
But I tell my girls, go big, go bold, don't hide it.
In late 2025, the veteran Fox News anchor, best known for her commanding role in daytime television and political coverage, unexpectedly disappeared from the airwaves. For the first time in nearly 2 decades at the network, she stopped appearing on the Faulkner Focus and other regular programs, remaining absent from November 2025 through January 2026. Viewers quickly noticed, and speculation spread across social media and media circles. Faulkner explained that she was stepping away to address important personal matters. Still, the announcement only fueled curiosity. Many wondered what had truly happened to prompt such a rare break in her career. The timing was striking. It followed months of intense coverage surrounding the 2024 U.S. election cycle and the 2025 presidential inauguration, a period of extraordinary pressure for news anchors. In a statement released shortly before her hiatus, Faulkner emphasized that her time away was not a retreat, but a deliberate step toward personal growth and family support. One of her primary reasons was to be present for her eldest daughter, Bella Berlin, as she prepared to leave for college, a milestone that brought both joy and emotional strain to their family. She also described what she called a rebirth journey of love with her husband, Tony Berlin. After years of juggling demanding careers and parenting responsibilities, the couple wanted to reconnect and strengthen their bond. Her honesty resonated deeply, prompting widespread support from colleagues and viewers alike, and sparking broader conversations about mental health and work-life balance, especially for public figures under constant scrutiny. However, Faulkner later revealed that her break was also driven by far more painful circumstances. In late 2025 and early 2026, she shared on air that her daughters had endured deeply distressing experiences, events she chose not to fully detail, but described as painful and formative. Protecting and guiding her children through those challenges, she said, became her absolute priority. Faulkner has long been open about her quiet fears for her daughter's safety and well-being in a high-profile, divided America. As the mother of 2 biracial girls, Bella and Danica, she has spoken candidly in past interviews about difficult conversations surrounding race, identity, and faith. In 2025, she acknowledged her anxiety about how racial and religious tensions could impact young people, especially those entering college, concerns rooted in her own family's reality. She also spoke about the emotional weight of major life transitions, calling her daughter's move to college one of the hardest truths she has ever faced. At the same time, she was supporting her younger daughter through the demanding world of competitive sports, where issues of fairness and bias often affect young athletes. Stepping away from the anchor desk gave Faulkner space to confront long-held feelings of guilt, pain from missed family moments, the toll of a relentless career, and the harsh judgments that often come with life in the public eye. For the first time in years, she allowed herself to put family before headlines, revealing a deeply human side of a woman long defined by strength and control. Now, Harris Faulkner is preparing to return to television after a brief hiatus. But this recent break was not the first tragedy to pull her away from the spotlight. Years earlier, she was devastated by a profound personal loss that deeply tested her faith and resilience. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Faulkner lost her father, retired Lieutenant Colonel Bobby R. Harris. His death, which occurred on Christmas Day in 2020, became one of the most painful moments of her life. She has openly reflected on how his passing reshaped her spiritual journey, especially amid the isolation and uncertainty of the pandemic. In interviews and in her memoir, Faulkner described her father as her guiding star and lifelong role model, someone whose influence shaped both her personal values and professional discipline. Because of strict pandemic restrictions, she was unable to be with him in his final moments, a reality that compounded her grief and sense of helplessness. In the weeks that followed, Faulkner admitted she struggled deeply with her faith. She said she found herself praying less and crying more, losing the spiritual grounding she had relied on since childhood. Her healing began unexpectedly while packing her father's belongings, when she discovered his annotated Bible. Its pages were filled with handwritten reflections, notes that had sustained him throughout his life. Reading his words brought her a renewed sense of connection and peace. Faulkner later described the moment as a spiritual realignment, saying it felt as though the broken pieces of her life were slowly being stitched back together. She has since spoken openly about how her father's legacy continues to shape her understanding of strength, faith, and purpose. But this was not the only loss that forced her to confront grief. A few years earlier, Faulkner had also endured the death of her mother, Shirley Harris. Shirley passed away in November 2016 after battling advanced lung cancer. Faulkner witnessed the struggle firsthand, serving as her mother's caregiver during the final stages of the illness. The experience left a lasting imprint on her life, reshaping her views on love, faith, and loss. She described her bond with her mother as inseparable and credited Shirley with instilling the values that guided her through life and into a high-profile career in journalism. After her mother's passing, Faulkner spoke candidly about the overwhelming sense of absence, once writing that she missed her so deeply it felt like physical pain in her heart. Faulkner often admired her mother's warmth, strength, and unwavering faith, qualities that helped shape her own professional ethos. Raised in a household rooted in compassion, resilience, and service, she leaned on those lessons both during her mother's illness and in the years that followed. Her mother's encouragement to face life's challenges with grace and to offer comfort to others became guiding principles in her life. Caring for her mother also gave Faulkner a deeper understanding of the emotional toll of serious illness, insight she later carried into her journalism, particularly during her coverage of the COVID-19 pandemic. Though she never imagined she would lose her father during that same global crisis, her mother's death remains a defining chapter in her life story. By sharing these experiences, Faulkner has allowed audiences to glimpse the private courage behind her composed public persona. With the support of her family, she has endured many hardships, including a terrifying experience long before her national fame. Before becoming a well-known Fox News anchor, Faulkner survived a harrowing stalking ordeal that left a lasting mark on her personal and professional life. While working as an evening anchor at WDAF-TV in Kansas City in the 1990s, she became the target of relentless harassment by a former boyfriend who refused to accept the end of their relationship. The man followed her from North Carolina to Kansas, closely monitoring her movements as his behavior escalated. What began as repeated phone calls and unwanted flower deliveries soon turned far more dangerous. The stalker started appearing at her apartment, lingering outside her home and subjecting her to constant fear. He vandalized her car, sending a chilling message about his obsession and complete disregard for boundaries. Faulkner later described that period as one of the most unsettling times of her life. It shattered her sense of safety and confidence, just as she was trying to establish herself in the competitive world of television news. The stalking took an even more terrifying turn when the man broke into Harris Faulkner's home, shattering her sense of safety and security. Her screams alerted nearby neighbors, prompting an immediate police response, and the intruder was eventually arrested. Yet even incarceration did not end the threat. Faulkner later revealed that the man remained fixated on her while in prison. She has said that being notified ahead of time about his release may have saved her life, allowing her to take precautions she otherwise might not have considered. Without that warning, she believes the ordeal could have ended very differently. Throughout this frightening chapter, Faulkner leaned heavily on her faith and inner strength, an experience she now considers one of the defining trials of her life. Beyond her personal struggles, Faulkner has also faced emotional trauma through her work as a journalist. She has spoken openly about the toll of reporting on some of the darkest moments in modern American history, particularly her coverage of the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting in 2012. On December 14th of that year, Faulkner was reporting live from Newtown, Connecticut, as the community reeled from a mass shooting that claimed the lives of 20 children and 6 adults. It remains one of the most devastating assignments of her career. While broadcasting from the parking lot outside the school, she witnessed hearses arriving to carry away the victims, a moment she later described as unbearably heavy. Rather than simply continuing with scripted coverage, Faulkner instinctively called for a moment of silence on air, allowing viewers to absorb the enormity of the tragedy alongside her. In later interviews, she admitted that the emotional weight of the scene overwhelmed her, even causing her to break down live on television. She explained that while journalists are trained to remain composed, some moments are too deeply human to contain. That experience left a lasting impact, shaping how she would approach future coverage of tragedy. It reinforced her belief that journalism must balance professionalism with compassion and facts with humanity. Another defining moment came in 2020, during one of the most turbulent periods in modern American history. Faulkner gained widespread attention for her interview with then-President Donald Trump amid nationwide Black Lives Matter protests following the death of George Floyd. The interview stood out for its measured tone, journalistic courage, and emotional depth. During the televised conversation, Faulkner pressed the president on his response to the unrest and directly challenged a controversial tweet: "When the looting starts, the shooting starts," a phrase many critics viewed as inflammatory. Rather than allowing the comment to go unexamined, she questioned its origins and historical implications, guiding a thoughtful discussion on race, leadership, and responsibility. What made the interview especially notable was how Faulkner framed her questions through the lens of her lived experience as a Black woman and a mother. She spoke about the emotional impact of George Floyd's final words and how they resonated with her on a deeply human level. Media analysts praised her approach, noting that she neither attacked nor deferred, but instead maintained a balanced and empathetic dialogue. This interview became one of many standout moments in Faulkner's career. Since joining Fox News in 2005, she has anchored multiple programs, including The Faulkner Focus and Outnumbered, while covering a wide range of defining global and national events. Earlier in her career, Faulkner reported on the AIDS crisis in South Africa, bringing international attention to the epidemic's devastating effects on vulnerable communities. She also covered the disappearance of Natalie Holloway in Aruba in 2005. a case that captured global attention and remained unresolved for years. Together, these experiences reflect the depth and breadth of Harris Faulkner's career, one shaped not only by breaking news and high-profile interviews, but by resilience, empathy, and the personal strength forged through adversity. In addition to her international reporting, Harris Faulkner was also on the ground covering the aftermath of the Oklahoma City bombing, helping audiences understand both the scale of the tragedy and the resilience of the communities left behind. Assignments like these highlight her versatility and depth as a journalist. Beyond global crises and high-profile criminal cases, Faulkner's reporting has spanned major national events and powerful human interest stories, from natural disasters across the United States to political developments at home and abroad. Throughout her career, she has moderated high-profile town halls, interviewed presidents and elected officials, and handled complex stories that demand both journalistic precision and genuine empathy. What truly sets Faulkner apart is her ability to pair clear, fact-driven reporting with a deep sensitivity to the human side of every story. Whether she is covering a global health emergency or the heartbreak of families affected by tragedy, her work consistently reflects a commitment to giving viewers a complete and thoughtful understanding of events. Faulkner has also spoken candidly about her role in shaping public discourse as a seasoned journalist. As a prominent Black woman in national news media, she has described her position as part of a broader narrative of progress within an industry that was once far less diverse. She has acknowledged that her presence on screen, particularly as the only Black woman hosting a daily program on a major cable news network, carries significance far beyond ratings or viewership numbers. She has emphasized that her career represents more than personal success. It reflects a shift in who gets to hold influence and occupy space in the national conversation. Throughout her journey, Faulkner has faced assumptions about her beliefs and perspectives based solely on her race, gender, and association with Fox News. She has noted that many people believe they already know where she stands on controversial issues before hearing her speak. Rather than viewing these assumptions as obstacles, Faulkner sees them as opportunities to challenge stereotypes, surprise audiences with nuance, and demonstrate independent thinking. She has spoken about moments when these expectations surfaced publicly, including appearances on The View, where she was pressed about her responsibilities to specific communities. In response, Faulkner made it clear that her responsibility as a journalist extends to everyone, not to any single group. Her stated goal has always been to bring thoughtful inquiry, balance, and broad perspective to every discussion, refusing to be confined by identity-based expectations. This approach has earned her respect from peers and media analysts, many of whom have noted her ability to incorporate lived experience into conversations while maintaining professional rigor. By doing so, Harris Faulkner has helped expand the public understanding of what leadership looks like for Black women in mainstream media. Now you know what happened to Harris Faulkner and why she was absent from the screen for nearly 3 months. From family struggles and personal loss to professional trauma. Which part of her story surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.